So I'm just about ready to get this converted device into the mail. This is the conversion of the Kuwee or whatever Bluetooth hub converter wired keyboard and mouse to wireless hub adapter. That's a mouthful. That's right from the Walmart site. Costs about $11, but it allows you to plug in a wired mouse and a wired keyboard and power, and then it will output those control devices to one of 8 Bluetooth devices. So pretty handy. Now, I knew, one of my viewers mentioned that it looked in the rendering on the site that it is USB micro, but the 3 of these units that I've taken apart so far have all been USB-C for power. But they will need USB-C power, or they'll need power, right? Because they're Bluetooth, and keyboard and mice rely on power. So when you're hooking this up, if you're not doing this custom enclosure, you will need to have your wired device here, and a wired power connection. It is kind of annoying that the power comes out the side, but they also have an auxiliary one out this way. That's part of the reason why I had to go through this conversion process. Okay, enough of that. Let's take a look at the final unit. I got the 3D models updated and printed in black and fiddled around with the spacing and everything to make everything turn out nice. And I added the 2 jacks here. So this is going to be the base unit. This is going to kind of be hopefully hidden away someplace in the back of the power chair. It will have a USB-C power input. We're using the RJ45 cable to connect to the head unit. And then we have the keyboard and mouse ports, regular USB-A female connectors, and then a jack for toggling the one of 8 possible downstream Bluetooth devices. And this jack for the power, did I mention that? I can't remember. So power in, power switch, data line to the head, mouse, keyboard, and toggle the mode. So underneath the chair or wherever on your desk, you plug, actually I do the power last. That's always a good idea to do the power last. First I'm going to plug in a toggle switch. This is an on-off switch that I make into that jack. Then I'm going to use this little test switch here that I have, and I'm going to plug that into the switch. I don't know where I put my trackpad, so I'll pretend that I've plugged in a mouse and a keyboard. And you could do either or, so if you just wanted to do a trackpad, you could do that. You don't have to have the keyboard connected, so that's an important point. Now, the connection we know is I was using the RJ45 cabling, in this case it's Cat5, or it's probably older than that, cabling. And I had mentioned that I like all the attributes, I didn't like the size. And so over the weekend I had ordered a Monoprice Ethernet cable, and they have some really fine smaller cables, and you can really see there's a significant difference in size. And this, I think, is now my new favorite Ethernet cable. It is a Cat6, so it'll handle gigabit, and it is very thin. It has all 8 conductors. It has this neat little spring thing. It looks nice, honestly, with all of the black enclosures and everything. It gives it a really professional look, I think. So one end will go into the base unit, and then the other end goes up to the head unit. And this is where that Kuwee converter board is actually living. And I'm bringing up the power and the data and everything through this RJ45. So that clicks in like that. And this is about 3¼ inches, about 80, I want to say 82, 83 millimeters across. And another viewer was kind enough to take a picture of their controller, and it looks like on their chair, it looks like it's about the same width. So that's plugged into that. Let's give this power, and so now it's got power, and if I click the power switch, there we go. So again, this is a toggle switch, so it stays in the on position. You might have a different switch that you need. And then my other switch is, this is controlling which device it's connected to. And so it's trying to connect to device 2, which happens to be my tablet, which is in another room, so it can't find it. Oh, actually it did. Well, I must have left Bluetooth on. So my tablet is in another room and it's still connected, which is pretty good. So that is working fine. Right now it's toggling between my phone and my tablet, but you can have up to 8 different devices going on here. One of the things I did, I was talking about light pipes and making the LEDs easier to see, and I think I've come up with a clever way of doing this, if I must say so myself. This is an earlier version, but what I did is I divided up the area there, and it's really hard to see. There's little dams, and I made a handy printout that is far easier to illustrate with, where one of these little squares, empty spaces, goes over each of the LEDs, and it was a treat measuring all of that. So all that was hand measured to get it to look right. Then what I did, I printed it out on my 3D printer, and then I lay the printed piece on my workbench. Now, one of the things I do on my electronics workbenches is I use sheet glass, a piece of glass on the top. It's certainly not something you want to hammer on, but the benefit of the glass is it's corrosion resistant. It is perfectly flat, which is what we want in this situation, and it's non-conductive. So it's good for electronics. You can have the electronics sitting on there and you don't have to worry about it. So on all my 2 primary electronics workbenches, both of them have glass tops. So helpful hint there. So I put this on, this version, on my glass top, face down, nice and smooth. Take my hot glue gun with some clear hot glue in it, and I fill up these little things with little dollops of hot glue. And then I just let it sit and dry. And because this part is laying on the glass surface, you get a really... I was actually surprised by how nicely that came out. But it gives me that pseudo light pipe idea. It's smooth here, and the LEDs are far easier to see doing this than they were just on their own. So I'm happy with that. So the 2 big takeaways I'd say, if you were making something like this hot glue tip, which I learned from somewhere, I can't remember now to attribute it, but that's real handy. And my goodness, I really, really like, so far, these RJ45 cables from Monoprice. Threw away the wrapper. I got it on Amazon. You can get it right from Monoprice too. But they are very thin, very flexible. This is actually a 5-foot cord compared to, like, I think this is maybe 3. So you really lose a lot of that bulk, but you still get all the data lines. And you still get all the neat things like, you know, it's secured, it's clipped, whatnot. So this is something I think I'm going to be using on other devices as I go forward. So there you go. There is the final, the final Mark 1 of this device, and I think it came out pretty nicely. We'll see how it is with the user. One other quick thing, how I'm doing these enclosures. I'm not gluing or screwing at this time because this is an earlier prototype. What I do is I 3D print a lip around these edges, and so these cases, the enclosures snap together. So the top and bottom snap together, And this shadow line here, I actually have in my model. I create that shadow line so it looks like it was semi-injection molded. But I found the clipping idea works pretty well because it holds things together, yet it allows you to get back in there if something breaks, and something will always break. Well, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed.